down here in the front.
We just got through.
I know. I know you talk about arteries of decisions a lot. Have you had to touch base at any point this weekend with James McCann, with him
Sure.
not starting at all?
Sure.
How does that go with him?
James got a lot of pride. You watch him. I was thinking, I actually brought it up to the team. He gets pinch hit for in Atlanta, and because the guy that pinch hit for him was a catcher, he was out catching the pitcher between innings. Those are little things, you know. He was talking to Glenn and I yesterday about, you know, once we had the lineup and everything, that he wanted to go down and catch some sides to stay ready. James is a pro. He's a professional, and I know people can make, you know, their sarcastic remarks, but he's been a pro through thick and thin. He wants to win, and he wants to do what he can. So proud of the way he's handled the injuries he's had this year and the back and forth. I think we've used, what, 5 catchers this year? Kind of tells you how demanding that position is, but, you know, we might need him, and he'll be ready if we do.
Tisha, left.
Buck, this kind of got lost yesterday, but were you surprised by Marte's throw to third, and just what was your assessment of that play?
I don't know about surprise. I don't, the effort, he's gonna, you know, he's gonna let it go. I still would be careful testing him. It's a lot like the swing. I don't think any of us consider and say for sure what he's feeling. He's kind of guarded about it. But, you know, everybody has some degree of something they're playing through this time of year. But where Starling's concerned, I think it's so well documented, it's out there. You know, his ability to post up for us and endure whatever, you know, discomfort or pain he might be feeling. You know, he's not going to use it as an excuse, and I'm sure you see his face. I'm watching for it. I'm sure y'all are if he's having a lot of it. And you know, I know him a little better than everybody else, and there's some, you know, some little telltale signs of things. But I know a couple of times that there are pitches that he felt like he should have hit, that it wasn't finger related, it was more mad at himself. But he's a splendid athlete, and he's been a good teammate and a guy that, you know, I've really grown to trust. When he tells you something, I think it took me a while to, you know, it's important to me to gain his trust. So when he tells you something, you take it as gospel. You know, about himself and how he feels and where he is, and you get a return for it. You know, it's one thing to have some trust in a player, but if you don't get a return for it, you kind of wonder. That hadn't been the case with him.
So just to follow up, you do think that play was finger related?
Could be. I mean, you know, how many throws has he made high this year? So I kind of dwelled on the fact that Jake and McCann were right where they're supposed to be. When you know, some of your best players, veteran guys, play the game right, it really sets such a great example and has all year. You know, Tyler McGill and Peterson, how can they now say I should be tardy backing up a base when guys like that are there? And you know, those are things that, you know, we amass the tape through the year. I'll just turn to Glenn and go put it on the tape, and those are things that, you know, you let the minor leaguers see. You see how the game should be played up here, and it's not just in the minor leagues, and the expectations of Mets players as they come up here. And there's a lot of rain delays in Syracuse and Binghamton and Brooklyn, and those are the things that you want them to see. And our guys next spring will be reminding them how, you know, we want to play.
Down here, Dave, on the right.
Buck, you seem to project an even keel approach with these guys from the jump, for the most part, from what we could tell.
I fooled you. No.
But I mean, throughout the year, the longest losing streak you guys have had has been 3 games, you know, which is pretty good over the course of a long season. What is that a testament? Is it a testament to the preparation of these guys? Is it a mindset, or why do you think you guys have been so good at just kind of?
It's tough, David, especially, you know, we always say, oh, in New York. You know, there's pressure in Kansas City. There's, I mean, pressure of expectations of just a professional athlete and what you have to do. But I've said this a lot, they've done a great job of staying in reality. There's so many things that can take you out of it, because you may not read or hear something, but by the time you get home, whether it affects your wife or your sister or your mother or father, at some point, and I keep telling them, stay together, stay together, stay together, because it's not a reflection on anybody else. It's just like I haven't walked in your shoes, and the people that are sometimes critiquing you haven't, and doesn't mean they're wrong either. When you got to worry is when people don't think what you do is important. It's like autographs. When you got to worry is when they quit asking, I tell them. So just go sign them. So it's like a friend of mine was on a plane with Dolly Parton, and someone kept coming up to, and she was in first class, and asking her, finally she said, doesn't that bug the heck out of you, these autographs of it? But she says, no, honey, this is why I'm in first class. They are why I'm in first class. It's always kind of stuck with me. So I think our guys get, it's part of the gig. It can be, I don't know, cruel and biting and hurtful, but you gotta keep pushing. And I think that's why they kind of rally around each other. And we'll see. I've been real proud of them. It's been a testament to their consistency, because they just don't let something take them down a path they don't want to go. And it requires a lot of peer support in order to do it.
We're going to go here on the right, far right.
Buck, have you spoken to Edwin at all today to get a sense of how he's feeling?
I saw him down the hall right then. Yeah, Jeremy has a session, we've done it all year, where he takes everybody out and we get an assessment of where everybody is, not only physically but verbally. And we sit down after this, and I get it, but I know he was in the hall with those shorts on and was asking me, I've been kidding about him last month or two. I want to know if I wanted a pair of them. And unfortunately, I think I'm going to get a pair now, not by my choosing. So yeah, that's the only I've talked to him. He seems to be in a good frame of mind. I know how he left here last night, but I can't tell you for sure until I talk to Jeremy. And if there's a conversation to be had with Edwin, I'll have it.
You've been a part of decisive games before in the playoffs. Is there anything in the past that has really separated or been a common denominator that you've learned that has allowed a team to advance that maybe you could share with your team this evening?
Nothing that we haven't already. You try hard not to be Captain Obvious. You want to give them that respect. Like, you want to lose some guys. Say something like, there's another expression, no, starts with the S and ends with a T. They go, does he really think we don't know that? So you got to be careful about it. But every once in a while, something needs to be said that's out there that they go, yeah, where you finally get it there. So, the biggest challenge we're going to have is Musgrove and their pitching staff and trying to contain their hitters. You try to stay in the reality of, because something that we expect to happen tonight won't happen. The game will get off script. The teleprompter will break. And, what our players do and what we do is important.
Stay far right, clap.
I love when these guys try to script games. It's like you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans. You want to make the baseball gods laugh, tell them about your plans.
Buck, I'm just actually following over here. Just following up on the previous question. I mean, do you find in the hours before an elimination game that you would interact with your players more, whether it's formally or informally, or is it important for you to go about your business like it's any other game to set that tone?
I think both, Bob. I try to get out of my office as much as I can. One, I enjoy it. It was one of the things we really want to do when we got here was make the locker room the locker room. Whether it's a batting practice pitcher, a bullpen catcher, whether it's somebody from another department, we tried to make that 26 players in there. That's their locker room, their place. Because we've done so much. Let's face it, a lot of times it becomes an interview room, and rightfully so, but when the doors are closed, they got to feel comfortable to let their hair down. So I like going in there, but I try not to tread on them too much. But, there's times when you do. It's kind of like managing. Sometimes the best managing you do is the managing you don't do. Because if you start doing a lot of things differently, they sense that. Believe me, they know what's going on. We had this game last night. They know. What do they want me to do, walk around and go, hey, you know what tonight means? They'll go, really? They knew that in Atlanta. They knew it in Philadelphia. They knew it. We've had a lot of similar things in some people's minds, but nothing. The finality.
Right there in the middle, on the left.
Hey, Buck, tonight, Bassitt's personality, you're looking for something to shine through that he shows everybody, hey, I deserve to be in this role?
Oh, I don't think regardless of what happens tonight, he does. I mean, he's, through thick and thin, he's been there for us. I think there's a lot of guys, I don't know, it's 30, 34 of our 162 were started by Max and Jake. The rest of them came from him and McGill and Peterson and Trevor Williams and Ty and Carrasco. I mean, it's not just, one thing, but, the one constant we've had has been the post-upness of Chris. And he's been a great teammate and a guy that he's a baseball player that happens to be a pitcher. He's in every pitch on the days he's not pitching. You hope he gets what he's put into this season into our team from a teammate standpoint, but sometimes, but they've got two, what's the priest said that other guys are praying too? Got to listen to all of them, right?
Down here, Laura.
Just two things. First of all, how comfortable are you using Taiwan Walker out of the bullpen?
Well, just that he hasn't done a lot is your initial, but he's physically ready to go. And if the situation dictates that he's our best option, then he'll be in the game. And nothing, this is about tonight and these 9 innings or however how many innings, and he'll pitch. And it's one of those things where you worry about tomorrow.
And there's usually different philosophies in terms of how much you weigh feel as opposed to analytics when making certain decisions. Does that change at all? Does your perspective or how you manage change at all in an elimination game in terms of weighing one thing more than the other?
Yeah, that's all. It's everybody's looking at the same stuff. There hasn't been much invented that everybody doesn't have privy to. So what changes with different organizations is what you choose to weight. Whether it's WOBA or whether it's on base percentage, whether it's slugging percentage. I mean, what you years ago in New York, we were really weighting on base percentage and the ability to walk. And that was back in the 90s, early 90s. I mean, so you don't become a prisoner to it, but you're aware of everything. That's why I left here so late last night. You're trying to weight everything and make a good decision, knowing that it could change at the drop of a hat and the script breaks or the teleprompter breaks. So the ability to think and to react and say, what if? I think players feed off that too when something happens and a guy gets hit with a line drive the first pitch. Not once, Billy in the front office done a great job. Not once did we play a game this year where we couldn't answer the question, if a guy gets hit with a line drive on the first pitch or has an arm injury, we didn't know who could pitch long innings. And that's a challenge, especially with options and everything. So as far as you take in everything, Laura, you just, and you want to make people feel comfortable to bring what they bring, and nobody gets, whether it's someone from the analytical department, whether it's somebody, that's the challenge, is to make everybody feel like they have an ear from not only me, but everybody, coaching staff. They knew that was part of the job requirement. You'd be crazy to say somebody who might bring something, give you 1 inch of edge, say, no, not you. I mean, bring it on. I get advice at home a lot. She's pretty good. She's been around a lot more games than some people.
Okay, last one, Ron, right here in the front.
First, you mentioned, how late did you leave last night?
Let's see. I got home about 1:45, 2. Traffic was good, though.
If you think back to when you were hired last winter, what do you think are the biggest imprints you've left on that room in the organization?
It'd be for somebody else. I don't live in that world.
You know what goals you have.
You take each day and you grind it. You do, and you try to. The biggest thing is that golden rule works real good. Treat people like you like to be treated, and you don't do it to get a return. You don't. The game's not, and the world's not fair. Does it mean you don't try to treat people well? I mean, when you get out, it's life, okay? Just take it. Some people, I don't know, I choose not to read or listen. It doesn't help me do the job. I want to be able to interact with everybody, including this room, so.
But you knew going in to accomplish what you wanted to, you had to do A, B, C, D.
Had to win. You know, we had two semi-mottos, or whatever you want to call them. You know, play better. I don't want to hear it. You know, eliminate sympathetic ears. You want somebody to walk up, hey, you know, this is, he doesn't want to hear it. She doesn't want to hear it. They don't hear it. And after a while, you got to go look in the mirror. So that's New York in a nutshell. Play better. I don't hear it. Win. Win games, play better. It's real simple. You know, there's a crude statement about it that I won't make in here, but especially, yeah, stop.
Buck, thanks
I've
a lot.
learned to stop over the years. So you didn't cut it off early enough today. Harold, you're back. Now, my grandson said that we should get another color here. He